That unforgettable October night, Catherine Phillips was home alone. Her husband Lloyd was away fishing. The fire came and she found herself unable to leave her property. She was trapped. She sat in her car for hours with the air conditioning on. Her son in Tennessee called a friend, a deputy sheriff, and asked him if he would go check on his mother. The deputy pulled up and saw her car and expected the worst.
I was up at our Truckee cabin. I went fishing that weekend, and on that morning, at 3 o'clock in the morning, our oldest son called from Las Vegas, celebrating his birthday there, and he was called and said that, gee, Dad, have you heard about the fires in Santa Rosa? And I said, no, I hadn't heard a thing because I watched the baseball playoffs and I went to bed. And he said, yeah, and I can't get a hold of Mom. So I started calling. I called about half a dozen times and nothing, because I didn't know at that time that everything was down, but it was all down. And I decided, well, I better head for home. So about 4 o'clock I was driving, and I got to Vacaville, and our other son, who lives in Tennessee, called and said, you know, I called my buddy, the sheriff, Dave Thompson, and he's going to go up there and check on Mom.
And so when Todd called and said his mom was up here, I'm like, that is not good, Todd. I told him that. I said, Todd, that's not good. That area is decimated. And I didn't know what to expect when I got up here, what I was going to find. But driving down Linda Lane and seeing everything completely gone and just thinking that has no one at home to help her. They can't get a hold of her. Those aren't good signs. Lloyd's gone. These signs are adding up to be bad news.
At 11 o'clock, I had a telephone call, but I never bothered getting up I would have to run around the bed to pick it up, and I wasn't feeling that well, so I just let the phone ring and I didn't pick it up. In retrospect, it was probably somebody telling me that there was a fire coming over the hill, and I wasn't prepared for that. And I don't know to this day who it was, but I laid back in bed. That was around 11 o'clock, and about 1 o'clock, I heard this horrible wind. So that doesn't sound good. So I went to the shutters and I opened them, and I saw the fires in the backyard. The fires were splotchy all over the place and in the hills behind the house. And I knew that that was not safe. So I ran out of the bedroom, tried to put the light on in the kitchen to see where my purse was and the keys to my car, and the lights were off. So I ran to the cupboard door where I knew a second set of keys were, and I actually was in such a rush and panic that I pulled the keys off that rack where all the keys were, and I said to myself, ooh, I'm going to have to fix that tomorrow. I must have wrecked it. So I got in my car and drove down to the gate, and the gate was shut, and the gate would not open, which it usually does when you press the sensors on the driveway. But I could see where the fire was burning, and the trees had fallen over the gate, and the gate was mangled, and the wrought iron railings on the side were mangled. And so I was angry, and I took the car and I rammed the car into the gate, and then the branches went right through my windshield. And I said, that does not look like that is a good idea. And so I put my eyeglass cases, which were very, very thick, I put them in the hole because I didn't want any smoke, but I didn't see any smoke too much. So I thought to myself, you know that if you got out, your feather robe would catch fire, your hair would catch fire, and you don't like to burn yourself. It feels painful to be burned, so you are not going anywhere. And then I thought maybe I could do an Evel Knievel over the creek. And I thought, no. Then a tow truck would have to take my car and pull me out of the creek, and then I have a bad neck, so it might hurt. And I said, I can't do that. And so I saw the fire on the right of me, and I saw Lois's shed on the left of me. It was an inferno. And I said, you're not going anywhere. You're going to have to sit in the car. And I sat in the car for 5.5 hours, from 1 to 7 o'clock when I was rescued.
I remember at 7:23 he called me, and I know he's in Tennessee. He's a good friend of mine, and I was like debating, should I take this call, because there was a lot going on, and I just wanted to say hi and I'm okay, and I knew he would be concerned. And he says, Dave, can you go check on my mom? She's up at the property. We can't get a hold of her, and Lloyd's out of town on a fishing trip. And I said, I'll try, Todd, but this was now, it was starting to get daylight. I had already tried to come up Mark West Springs Road. I didn't even make it to Reebly, and there were power lines that were down and across the road, and there was cars crashed in the middle of the road, and everything was still smoldering and smoking. I said, I've been up that way a little ways, and I had to turn around, so I'll try again though. So I was in a position at that time to be able to come up and see, and I was concerned that she may still be here, and I didn't know. So I just jumped back in my car, came up Mark West, and again I was dodging power lines that were down, power poles on the road, and trees and other things that were on fire, and just kind of zigzagging my way up. It was pretty much a ghost town up here, and again everything's still smoldering, and got to Linda Lane, came down the road, everything was burned here, and I even in fact had a hard time finding the right address. I've been here several times, helped move some things here and do things with Todd, but I knew there was a bridge, and it just looked so different because everything was gone and none of the landmarks are here to kind of give you an idea. As I pulled up, I saw a van right at the entrance on the inside of where the gate used to be, and it wasn't burned. Everything else around here was completely burned. All the cars were on fire or had burned, and this was just so out of the norm that it wasn't on fire or hadn't burned to a crisp. And the door of the van opens up, and KG gets out. Her hair is just going every which direction, and she looked like she'd been through a war, which she really had. And I said, KG, is that you? It's me. And I was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe it. First of all, everything had burned, and Todd had just asked me to come up and check on her mom, and I'm thinking, what's the chances that she would still be there? Certainly she got out, and lo and behold, there she was, getting out of the van. She had a robe on, and just had been through a terrible night. So I got out of my car, made my way through the creek and onto this side of the property, and took hold of her and helped her get down to my car. And as we were going down, she was just her, kind of herself. I said, where's Lloyd? And she said, he's on a fishing trip in Tahoe. He wanted me to clean the garage. I remember her saying.
I kept the air conditioning on, and when I was rescued by Dave Thompson, the sheriff, I looked at the mileage on my gas tank, and it was 9 miles to go. So I had 9 miles to go, and the air conditioner was on all night. And I moved from the driver's side to the passenger side because it was more comfortable there, but nothing was really comfortable. And I said to myself, oh my goodness, when I found out everything was gone, I said, the only thing I have is the stuff in my car. And I've been meaning to clean it out. But if I didn't have the stuff in my car, I wouldn't have had anything. So now I have everything in my car, and it's the reason why I never cleaned it out. But I didn't want my garage to be burned up. But it's also a possibility to tell my husband, I don't have to clean the garage anymore. It's gone. So I don't have that thought anymore.